Hello, hello, and welcome in finally, Mama Foxy. It has been a while. If you're still here, hello. And I'm glad that you're able to catch it, or if first. But hello, everyone. Hello. Give me 1 second. Boop. There we go. I think that's better. Yeah. Boop. Oh. There. Let's remove that. But hello, everyone. Today, we will be diving into the chapters of 31 to 36 of The Amazing Iron Flame. As a refresher for anybody who does not know or cannot remember, because I fully, I am the kind of person to easily forget, especially if it happened a week ago. But, we are, let me move some stuff real quick. We are reading through the books of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. We've already finished Fourth Wing, and today is the last 4 days, or today starts the last 4 days of reading the book Iron Flame, which it's weirdly enough, this does not, I'm looking at the pages and we're almost halfway through the book. I think by the end of today we should be fully halfway through the book. But there's supposed to be only 24 chapters left between now and Sunday the 19th. So, today we will be reading through chapters 31 to 36. I will warn you, chapter 31 is super short. So we will be taking breaks between each chapter. You're more than welcome to type in the chat if you want to react to something, and then we'll talk about it if you're still in chat after, or we could take our break. And we could talk before we take our break, but yeah. Anywho, I am doing this because on January 21st happens to be the final release of, or not final release, the official release of the third book in this book series. And I'm doing this more for a refresher for myself, and also because if somebody was interested in listening to somebody else read the books, then yeah. But the third book, called Onyx Storm, comes out January 21st in literally 10 days. I'm excited. But yeah, so also, for anybody who is watching this on YouTube, just as a reminder, all the timestamps for everything are below in the description section. So if you want to not listen to me babble, you are more than welcome to click those buttons and shoot to each chapter. All right. Let's do a chapter refresher, shall we? So just recently, there's not going to be any 18 plus chapters today, at least. But just as a reminder, there are going to be some gruesome stuff happening this reading session. But yeah, so what happened last time was Violet rushed over to where Xaden is stationed. They did the deed. Then they came back. I'm trying to remember myself. Oh my god. Threshing happened for the first years. Violet just watched on for she's a second year. And then she went up to the tower where she was supposed to have her watch, and some men attacked her. And now she's currently hanging off the edge of the tower right now. Alright. So let's mark this time. I'm also kind of stalling because this chapter is short. It's literally about a page and a half. Actually. Oh, whoa, my pages are torn. What the fuck? It's technically 2 pages long. Like, front to back. Like, one front and one back long. So it's, yeah, 2 pages long. Yeah, let's... Get on in. Get comfy. Chapter 31. I slip another precious inch as the soldier is yanked backwards, then thrown forward, over my head, disappearing into the darkness. It's Aya. It has to be. Maybe the wound isn't. Blonde hair and icy blue eyes appear above me, and my heart plummets with the assassin's body. Jack Barlow. Sorengale? He lunges forward, grasping my wrist with an unbreakable grip. I'm so sorry, I tell Taryn, and prepare myself for the weightless moment that will be my last. I've got you, Jack shouts, holding my wrist tight as he throws himself backwards and hauls me up and over the edge. My ribs hit stone, and he lets one hand go, then grabs my leathers and pulls, heaving me the rest of the way out onto the tower wall. I don't waste time, scrambling forward to safety as soon as my boots land inside the turret. He backs up a few steps, his chest raising and falling, quickly with exertion as he gives me space, dodging the fallen body to the left as fire rages to the right. You saved me. I scurry backwards, leaving my hands at my sides and close to my daggers. I didn't know it was you, he admits, falling back against the tower wall and catching his breath. But yeah. You could have just let me fall, but you pulled me up, I say, like I'm trying to convince myself. Do you want to climb back up there and we'll do that again that way? He offers, gesturing to the wall. No! Wingbeats sound overhead, and we both look up as Terran soars by. He would have been too late, and we both know it. The relief coursing through my body isn't just mine, it's his too. Look, Jack shakes his head and peers over at Aya's lifeless form. I was on the dorm's watch for First Wing, and ran when I heard the screams, and, well, riders don't die at the hands of infantry. I killed you. You have every right to throw me off the tower. I reach behind me, one hand at a time, and collect 2 of my daggers, sheathing them slowly, bracing myself for anything. Yeah. He rubs his hands through his short blonde hair. Well, that death was kind of a second chance for me. You don't know who you really are until you face down Malik. So, the way I see this is I just gave you a second chance too. We're even. He nods once, then walks away, exiting into the tower. I move slowly around the edge of the turret, stopping to roll over the body of the first assassin. The first assassin I killed, and remove my daggers, cleaning them off with his uniform, before sheathing them at my thighs. The fire slowly sputtering in the barrel, and I lean against the hard stone wall before letting my back hit every ridge on the way down, as I slide to sit. I stare at the tips of Aya's boots. They're all I can see from this angle, and I let my head fall back against the wall. Then I breathe and wait for the adrenaline to pass. For the shock to wear off, for the trembling in my aching hands to cease. Aya's dead. That's half of us who flew to Resin. Atos isn't going to stop until we're all gone. He'll pick us all off one by one. I hug my knees to my chest. Who will he come for next? Garrick? Imogen? Zayden? Bodhi? We can't go on like this. Holy shit! I hear Riddick's voice a second before I see him. What happened? He falls to his knees beside me, looking over in obvious appraisal. Are you hurt? Stabbed? His glance skitters sideways. Burned? No, I shake my head. But Aya's dead. Assassins. Atos. Fuck. I laugh, the sound tripping out of my lips hysterically. Jack Barlow saved my life. Are you kidding? Riddick rises up and cups my face, checking my eyes for signs of a concussion. No, he said that makes us even, and I really think he failed math, because, by my calculations now, I owe him 2 lives. The one I took from him, and the one he just gave me. I should have come with you. His hands fall away. No, I shake my head, and my vision swims. They could have killed you too. Shivers rack my frame. What do you need? Just wait with me while it passes. Silence stretches between us. I saw Jacinia, he says quietly. The good news is she knows where the vault is. There are wards, but she knows how to get through them too. But the bad news is we need someone in King Tori's bloodline to do it. They're not just in some sub-level vault. They're in the royal one. His shoulders dip in defeat. I'm sorry, Violet. I look over at Aya's boots. There's nothing I can do to protect her now, but I can protect what she fought for. Then it's a good thing we have access to a prince who happens to hate his father. Woo! What the timing of the music. Alright, well that was chapter 31. Yes, like I said, it was a very short chapter. It was like less than 5 minutes. Alright. Is there anybody? No discussions? Okay. Alright. Unless somebody wants to. I don't know. Anywho, I'm going to take a quick little break. I'm going to run a quick ad while we're doing this, and I will be back in a few minutes. Yeah. Alright. Alrighty. We're gonna hop on in to 32. Alright. Zayden stares me down at Saturday, Zayden stares down at me that Saturday, his eyes boring a hole through my soul, and a muscle in his jaw ticks once, twice. At least there aren't any shadows creeping out from under my bed, so he can't be that angry, right? Say something. I hold his gaze and shift my weight when the edge of my desk digs into the back of my thighs. His shoulders rise with a deep breath. At least one of us is getting enough oxygen. My chest feels like it's about to squeeze my lungs right out of it. Rhiannon saved my life. If she hadn't retrieved that dagger before Varish took your jacket, I wouldn't be sitting here. It comes out like the plea it is. They had to know eventually. She saw the dagger. She knew something was up. Those beautiful eyes close, and I swear I can feel him counting to 10. Fine, maybe 20. Say something, please, I whisper. I'm choosing my words carefully, he replies, then takes another measured breath. I appreciate that. I open my mouth to make another excuse, but there really is none to give. So I sit and listen to the clock tick and rain pelt the window while he composes his thoughts. Who exactly knows? He finally asks, slowly opening his eyes. Rhiannon, Sawyer, Riddick, and Quinn. Quinn too? His eyes flare. I hold up a finger. That was all Imogen. For fuck's sake. He drags a hand down his face. They don't know everything. He lifts his scarred brow, looking anything but reassured. They don't know about Orisha, or Brennan, or the Luminary issue. I cock my head to the side, which really isn't an issue if I can get a week away from this place to fly to Corden. It's what, a flight? A 2-day flight? The city on the southern coast of the Korovlan province can't be too far. Stop, he leans in, bringing his face right up to mine, bracketing my hips on the desktop with my hands. Do not go there, with me. Right now, or not right now. This asinine idea of breaking into the archives tonight is more than enough for me to sweat about without worrying you're going to fly off and get yourself captured and killed in enemy territory. It's not an idea. It's a plan. I cup his cheeks, and it doesn't feel like you're sweating to me. A sound like a growl works up in his throat, and he pushes away, retreating a step. You have no idea what I'm thinking. You're right, I don't. So tell me. I grip the edge of the desk and wait to see if he'll shut me out as usual. He runs his thumb beneath the bottom lip I haven't had the chance to kiss and glances towards the books piled on my shelves. I appreciate you waiting for me to do this, but there are holes in your plan. What holes? You haven't secured the agreement of the key participant, for starters. He lifts a finger. That's because... No. It's my turn to talk right now. You asked what I was thinking, right? He gives me a wing leader look, or the wing leader look. The shrewd, calculated one that used to scare the shit out of me, and I snap my mouth shut. He lifts a second finger. Jacinia won't be the only scribe there, which means there's a high probability of being caught. A third finger joins the two. Not only do the books have to be stolen, they have to be returned before anyone notices. Or were you planning on staying overnight to read? I wasn't borrowing tomorrow's trouble on that one, I admit. And you really think we can get it, or get in and out in under an hour? Because The alternative leaves us dead. We don't have much of a choice. If we want those journals... He sighs deeply, then closes the distance between us and takes my chin between his thumb and forefinger to gently tilt my face towards his. How certain are you that the answers to the word stones are in those books? We've read through half the classified tomes on word weaving and repair in the last month, and whatever we haven't, Jacinia has. They only cover weaving into existing wards or repairing them. Those journals are our best shot at learning how the first 6 built the first wards. Our only shot. You know they'll kill us if we're caught, right? Us. I slide my hands up his chest. We're dead anyway if we don't get Orisha's wards up. We have months if Brennan's right, and he usually is. The truth is coming out. It's just a matter of time. His attention drops to my mouth and my pulse leaps. If you're certain this is the only way, then I'm in. There's no chance I'm letting you do this on your own. My smile is instantaneous. You're not going to argue? Or tell me there's another way? Me? Argue with you about books? He shakes his head, sliding his hand to my cheek. I only pick fights I can win. He lowers his mouth inch by slow inch, and then stops a breath away. It's your turn to talk now. He hovers right there and waits, our mouths so close it would only take a whisper of a movement to connect us. All it takes is his nearness, his touch, and his blood simmers. Or my blood simmers. Bleh. Anticipation flushes my skin, and he strokes his thumb along my heated cheek, but doesn't take what I so desperately want him to. My breath catches at the realization that he's giving me the choice not to kiss him, but to call our night in Samara an exception. But it wasn't. Leaning up, I brush my lips across his, then kiss him gently as if it's the first time. This isn't heat and passion, though I know it will be in a matter of heartbeats. This is something else entirely. Something that scares the shit out of me, and yet I can't bring myself to pull away, even in the name of self-preservation. I'm choosing him, choosing us. There will be no calling this a lapse in judgment, or the result of too much adrenaline, or even lust. I love him. No matter what he does or why he did it, I still love him. I know he cares about me. Maybe it isn't love. Maybe after all he's been through, he isn't capable of that emotion. But I mean something to him. He kisses me long and slow, like we have all the time we want. There's nothing more important in this world than the slide of his tongue against mine, the drag of his teeth across my lower lip. It's a bone-melting, intense assault on every one of my senses. And by the time he lifts his head, we're both breathing harder. We have to stop, or we're not leaving this room tonight. He drags the backs of his fingers down my cheek and steps back when I force myself to nod in agreement. I shake my head to clear it, and he moves towards the door. Where the hell is he going? I didn't ask him to help us yet for a reason. Yeah, I gathered that. Xaden pauses, gripping the door handle, and looks over his shoulder at me. I'm with you. I'll do this. But you have to know the consequences if he says no. My stomach pitches, telling him will expose us. He won't. I'm sure of it. Xaden dips his chin once, then yanks open the door. Riddick and Sawyer stagger forward, then slam into the wards and fall to the hallway floor. My hand flies to my face and I smother a laugh. It's soundproof when the door's closed, assholes, Xaden growls, and what the fuck is he already doing here? He doesn't know why he's here, Bodhi is saying. I just ordered him out of flight lessons. I hop off the desk and hurry to the door as Riddick and Sawyer pick themselves up and split, sorry. He doesn't know, I hop off the desk and hurry to the door as Riddick and Sawyer pick themselves up and split, revealing Bodhi, Rhiannon, Imogen, and Quinn across the hall. Auric stands between them all, leaning against the wall, his arms folded across his chest. Figured you'd come for me sooner or later, he says, his eyes narrowing on Xaden, shining with nothing short of malice. The energy between those two is anything but good, which I should have expected. Xaden's father started a war that Auric's father ended. One by one, I pull them through the wards into my room, including Auric, who hovers just inside the doorway. But I leave the door open in case anyone needs a quick exit. I turn to Auric. We need your help. And you can say no and walk away right now, but if I explain why we need you and you say no, I drag in a shaky breath, reluctant to say what needs to be said. If we tell you why and you decline, you won't be walking away, Xaden finishes when I can't. You think I'm going to lift a finger for you? Auric reaches for his sword hilt. Whoa, whoa, Bodhi grabs for his sword, angling to step between them. Everyone calm down. You know what's happening out there, and you came here for a reason, right? I say to Auric, putting myself in front of Xaden. Help us do something about it. You have no idea what he did to Alec, he seethes. Your brother was a craven, murderous prick. Xaden hooks his fingers into my waistband and tugs me backwards, settling me slightly behind him before he shoves Auric through the wards and into the hallway. And I'm not sorry I killed him. Oh shit, I did not see that coming. 3 hours later, we've gone over the plan until we know not only our parts, but everyone else's too. Bodhi had to step between Auric and Xaden twice, but we're finally on our way to the archives. Turns out the key to securing Auric's participation was nothing that was noting that he'd be stealing from his father. An hour from now, we'll either have retrieved the journals or we'll be dead. The archives aren't kind to visitors after the vault-like door closes. You sure about this? I ask Auric quietly as we walk down the tunnel from the infirmary in pairs, 8 of us covered in scribe robes, embroidered with the second-year golden rectangles. This entire plan hinges on him. Absolutely. The only person I hate more than Xaden Ryerson is my father. Just keep your boyfriend the fuck away from me. He stares straight ahead. He'll keep his distance, I promise, glancing over my shoulder, past the others at where Xaden follows close behind. The only one who refuses to wear a disguise. Then again, if I was a shadow wielder, I'm not sure I'd walk around in anything but black either. I'll be wherever you are, Xaden continues as the bell rings out 6 times, signaling the hour. Remember, the goal is secrecy, not showing off. This isn't a squad battle, he says, his tone low. We pass the stairwell on the right that leads up to the rest of campus and down to the brig. Then round the last corner, the archives doors comes into view, and lucky for us, Naseya is exactly where I expected him to be, asleep at his post. Bodhi moves quickly with Riddick, slipping behind Naseya and hiding behind the door to keep watch. First obstacle complete. Jacinia surprises me, meeting us at the door. No, she signs, appraising our group, the lines of her mouth tense. Only 4 of you. Any more and it'll be too suspicious. Her gaze sweeps over Xaden, especially you. Fuck. Everyone here was chosen not only for their loyalty, but their signets. No one will see me, Xaden assures, keeping his voice low as he signs simultaneously. Auric, Violet, Imogen. Jacinia's gaze catches on Auric, and I see the moment she realizes who he is. The blood drains from her face, and she jerks her attention to me. Is he that obvious? I sign, as the others start to argue quietly. Only if you're looking for it, she replies. They have the same eyes. The wonder of heredity, Eric signs. I can retrieve, Rhiannon whispers her argument to Xaden. And I can wipe short-term memory if we're seen, Imogen replies. Classified signet, remember? Your power is impressive, Matthias, but I'm the last line of defense around here. She moves to Nisea, putting her hands lightly on his head, just in case. We'll stay close. Quinn sweeps away. Quinn steps away from the group and motions at Sawyer and Rhiannon to follow. Just in case you need this. Rhiannon looks between Xaden and me, clearly torn. If something goes wrong, then you'll go back to your rooms and act like it didn't. I hold her gaze so she knows I'm serious. No matter what, stick to the plan. Her shoulders drop and she nods, shooting me one last look of frustration before joining the others behind the massive door. Walk softly, Justinia reminds us, and my heart pounds as we file into the archives. We have to be quick. The archives close in exactly an hour, and if we're in here when the door seals shut, I swallow the nausea that's threatening. I know, we'll die. The archives are warded with the ultimate pest protection. Just show us the way. We'll do the rest, Xaden says. He disappears the moment we cross the threshold, sticking to the shadows along the dimly lit walls. I can't just see the vague outline of his shape, but if I look closely, but it's almost shocking how well he blends into the darkness. Or maybe it's that the rest of the space is so bright, mage lights illuminating the rows and rows of bookshelves and empty study tables that stretch to the back of the cavernous dome. Empty is good, and expected for a Saturday night, but there's no telling who might be within the stacks or in the workrooms deeper within the archives. I force myself past the pinch of hesitation when I walk by the oak study table following Justinia. The marble under my boots is familiar and yet completely foreign. As many years as I've spent here, this is the farthest I've ever walked into the archives. Arik glances down each row as we pass, and I don't take my eyes off Justinia, forcing my mannerisms, my posture, my pace to mirror hers. The quiet I usually find peace in is unnerving under these circumstances. Gods, so much can go wrong. What little dinner I ate threatens to reappear. The three of us follow Justinia as she turns left and cuts through the second to last rows of tables, guiding us in the direction of the workrooms. The scent of bonding glue grows stronger, and my heart stutters at the sight of a scribe headed our way, coming from the same hallway we're headed for. The single golden rectangle on his shoulder marks him as a first year, and though the scribe quadrant educates twice as many cadets as the writer's quadrant, it's still small enough that he should recognize us if we were what we were pretending to be. Cadet Neil Wart, he signs while speaking, glancing at us in confusion. I lower my head to see Arik doing the same, shielding our features as much as possible. Cadet Samuelson, Justinia answers, turning slightly so I can see her hands. Fuck, we're going to be caught before we even get near the wards. I've got this. Xaden's voice soothes the sharpest of my anxiety, but not all of it. But he's here. He's exactly why we waited for this particular night. Shadows creep from beneath the tables, racing for Samuelson's feet, and Arik tenses beside me. I thought only you and Cadet Nisea were on duty tonight, Samuelson asks. And yet you're here, she replies. Tendrils of black rise up behind the first year. Wait! The last thing we need is a dead scribe cadet. This is me being patient, Xaden answers. I forgot my binding assignment in Cully's room. Samuelson glances meaningfully at the cream satchel strapped over his shoulder. Forgetfulness doesn't become a scribe, Jacinia sighs, and my eyebrows rise as I fight back a smile. If you don't mind, first year, we second years have things to accomplish. Not everyone requires weekends off to study. The first year flushes in obvious embarrassment, then steps aside into the aisle. Shadows fall back into place, and we walk forward as a group. I thought he might kill him, Arik whispers, but once we're out of the first year's range of hearing. Wouldn't have surprised me, Imogen replies. Might have been more efficient. We both whip our heads around to see her shrug. Jacinia leads us out of the main library and down a well-lit hallway lined with windows and a few classrooms on each side. The deeper we travel into the archives, the tighter my collar feels. Zayden catches up to us in a few strides, walking calmly beside me. Someone is going to notice all of that black, I lecture quietly as Jacinia turns to the right. This place is a fucking maze, and it all looks exactly the same. There's no one here. Zayden hands are loose at his sides, and he's exchanged the sword he prefers at his back in favor of a short one, which tells me he's prepared for close quarter fighting. At least, not in this section. Your shadows tell you that? Arik quips. I thought we agreed not to speak, Zayden retorts. Jacinia opens the third door on the left, and we follow her into what looks to be a classroom. No wonder the hallway is lined with windows in here. It's dark. Two of the walls are made of stone, and the back one is lined with books. Oh, excuse me. The rest of the space is sparse, filled with rows of long, trestled tables and benches that face a lone desk at the front of the room. Everything from here is only what I've been told. She signs, worry pursing her lips. I've never been further. If I'm wrong about any of this, we can handle ourselves, I promise. She nods, then walks to the far corner of the room, toward the long bookcase.
Excuse me, sorry, I have to sneeze.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about that. Imogen, Zayden orders, nodding toward the door. She takes a look-out position, retrieving a knife from under her robes as Jacinia reaches for the back of the bookcase, moving several tomes out of the way before locating a lever. She pulls down on the metal piece, and the corner of the room separates from the other stones. It rotates a quarter turn with surprising near silence, revealing the opening to a steep spiral staircase. Looking closely, I can see the faint lines of the metal track it spins on. Amazing, I whisper. How many of these little hidden wooden wonders exist around here? What? I hiss at Zayden when I catch him looking at me. I feel like I'm looking at what could have been. And the secret entrance clicks into place, halting its rotation. You look better in black, Zayden whispers, his lips brushing the shell of my ear and eliciting a shiver of awareness despite our current situation. This is as far as I can take you, Jacinia signs. If I'm gone much longer, someone may notice. According to the others, the normal archive wards end here, so if you can't get back in time, you're safer down there overnight. Thank you, I reply. I'll be in contact as soon as we can return them. Good luck, she offers us an encouraging smile, then leaves the four of us to it. Zayden leans into the stairwell. Watch your step, he tells. There's a little light coming from the bottom, but we'll need to keep the rest from turning on. We're down to 45 minutes, Imogen says. Any longer, and we're either stuck and court-martialed or dead. No pressure. Then we better move quickly, Zayden replies, lacing his fingers with mine before starting down the steps. Okay. That was the end of chapter 32. I'm gonna take a quick break here. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break here, guys, and we'll be back for chapter 33. Alright. Alrighty. Dang, we're already almost halfway through reading today. And it's only been an hour. Alright, let's jump in to chapter 33, shall we? Okay. Shadows blink at the Shadows blanket the ceiling, blocking any mage lights that could flicker on at our presence. And so I put my free hand on the wall as we descend the stairs slowly. Every step is a gamble in the darkness, but miraculously no one stumbles. A pale blue light blossoms at the bottom of the staircase. A mage light? There are 2 guards at the end of the hallway, Xaden answers, slipping his hand from mine. Wait here while I solve that problem. I put my hand up to signal to the others to stop when we reach the final step. The space opens into what looks to be a hallway, but Xaden doesn't question which direction to take. He moves quickly to the right, lifting both hands. A crumpling sound follows. Now, he says aloud. The hallway is maybe 30 feet long and little more than a glorified tunnel. Supported by carved pillars over a stone floor, it smells like earth and metal and feels dank with humidity. At one end, light shines through an open archway, glancing over my shoulder. I see that only darkness consumes the other possible path. There isn't even a door, Imogen says as we hurry down the hall. No need with wards that strong, Xaden comments. I can feel them. The thrum of sharp, intense power grows stronger the closer we get. The hair on the back of my neck rises, and my power surges in answer to what feels like a hell of a threat. We have a few minutes before these 2 will wake up. I didn't hit them that hard, Xaden says as he and Imogen drag the infantry guards to the side, clearing the path. Those words are some uncomfortable shit, Imogen rolls her shoulders. There's a hum, but it's not that bad, Arik replies as we stare through the boarded archway with its intricately carved stonework to the shelves of the small circular library that lies beyond it. That bodes well for getting past, Imogen remarks, and you'd better hurry. You're looking for 2 journals, I nervously remind him, even though we've gone over this 3 times. There have to be at least 500 tomes in there. Arik's gaze skims the shelves, and he sighs. You'll have to search. Violet! Xaden shouts as Arik grips my hand and strides forward through the archway, yanking me along. Powerful magic ripples over me as I stumble through, pricking every inch of my skin and twisting my stomach with the feel of a 100-foot free fall as he pulls me into the library. He releases my hand and I hit my knees, falling forward and catching myself on my hands. Nausea overwhelms every other sense. My mouth waters and my head hangs as I fight back the urge to vomit. Why the fuck would you do that? Xaden snaps from the other side of the wards. Tell me you're unharmed. Queasy, but I'll live. Arik ignores Xaden, dropping to a crouch in front of me. Are you alright, Violet? I force air in through my nose and out of my mouth. Tell me you knew it would let me through. I bite out the worst of the illness. I bite out as the worst of the illness passes. Because it sure as hell didn't want to. My father doesn't have anything warded that isn't worth showing off, he explains, holding out his hand. So I took a chance that you wouldn't smack into the wards like a wall, and I can't get through these books in the next 40 minutes alone. You're the one who knows what we're looking for. I ignore his hand and push to my feet, despite the smarting pain in my knees from the impact. I turn in a circle, taking the library space in. There are 6 heavy bookshelves with glass doors lining the circular walls, and a pedestal of cabinetry in the middle, decorated with a velvet tablecloth embroidered with the king's signet. Above us, mage lights emit a soft glow, and the illumination catching on the curves and knot-like lines carving into the decorative ceiling about 5 feet above Arik's head. Wait a second, sorry. The scent of the damp earth is gone. Sorry. The scent of the damp earth is gone, and it's considerably cooler in this room, and the tunnel beyond the archway, I scour above me, but there are no windows for ventilation or any visible modifications I can see. It's not just the wards. There's magic in this room. Pull me in, now, Xaden demands. No, Arik replies without so much as glancing in his direction. The only perk I'm getting out of this whole expedition is knowing how much it must pain you to realize you can't get to her. Stop antagonizing him and get to work, Arik. You start to the left and ignore anything that's not handwritten. I peek through the archway to see Xaden in full fuck you mode. His hands are loose, and shadows rise around him, forming blades as sharp as the ones he carries. But it's the cool, calculated wrath in his eyes that makes me worry for Arik's health. Which is why I don't insist he pulls Xaden in. I'm fine, I promise him. I'm going to fucking kill him. Then you'd be responsible for the deaths of 2 princes. Warwick and Lyra, right? Arik questions, already pulling tomes from the shelves. Yes, I reply. Alec deserved it. He was a bully and forfeited his life by coming after Garrick during threshing. Though I wonder who it was that told Arik, since if his father knew, I highly doubt I'd still be in possession of my head. Well, Arik doesn't deserve it. I skip the right side of the shelves in favor of the cabinetry. If I had a 600-year-old book that was worth our entire kingdom, I'd store it where it was least exposed to the elements. I pull open the first drawer, which stores 2 books. The Study of Winged Creatures, which looks to be at least half a century old, and A History of the Island Wars, which appears even older. These are all journals, Arik says. Looks like every commanding general of the armies since the unification. Keep going. I check the next drawer, then the next, and so on, until I've opened 3/4 of the storage. It's an exercise in self-control not to open every book and devour its contents. There are tomes here on the early wars, the history of the individual provinces, mythology of the gods, and even what looks to be the earliest tomes I've ever seen on mining practices. My fingers itch to turn the pages, and I know better than to damage the parchment. This shelf is all journals of the commanding generals of writers. Arik lowers his hood and glances over his shoulder at me. They used to be separate positions. I move to the last section of the center pedestal. Healers, infantry, and even scribes could be the general of the armies until about 200 years ago, when the Second Koiy uprising. After that, the commander of the Riders Quadrant, or the Riders, commanded all Navarre forces. You know that no rider has ever been named king, right? Imogen asks through the archway. That's not entirely true. I start opening the drawer. If you're asking if I give a shit about being second in line, then the answer is no, Arik says over his shoulder at Imogen. It's Halden's destiny to be king, not mine. Does Halden know? I ask, reading over the titles in the top drawer about what's happening out there. Yes, Arik says quietly. And? I look over at him. Our eyes lock for a heartbeat before he places a tome and moves to the next. I'm here, aren't I? Understood. Halden isn't going to help. Guess we have that in common. I still can't believe you kept his secret all these months, Imogen says. I kept yours too, I remind her, opening the next drawer. This entire section seems dedicated to historical records. I've known Violet longer, which is why I'm not surprised she kept yours. He looked my way and moves to the next set of shelves. The rift between you and Atos was what caught me off guard. You two were inseparable when we were kids. Yeah, well, kids grow up. I bark out the words, shutting the drawer with a little more force than necessary. You can't trust him, you know. Figured that out by the little exchange that went down between the two of you on the mat. He pulls out another tome. These are the generals of the healers. Useful, but not what we need. I crouch to open the last drawer. Fuck, more records. We're down to 20 minutes, and we need 10 of those to get back to the door, Imogen warns, her tone tight with urgency. The collar of my armor tightens a little more, and I tug it away from my throat. These are the scribes, Ark says from the fourth case. As carefully as you can, glance through the earliest ones, trying to not touch the edges of the paper. I close the bottom drawer and stand. There are 2 more cases to search. Look for anything that mentions wards or ward stones. He nods and pulls the first one down. My attention shifts to the 6th bookcase. Half of these books like Tirish history, half of these books look like Tirish history, I tell Xaden. Fascinating. We'll come back and study up after we win this war, he replies. A guard rustles and we all pivot, but Xaden has him knocked out again before he can so much open his eyes. Hurry, before I do permanent brain damage over here. This is dated 6 AU, Arx says, shutting the journal. The wards were well in place by then. Shit. Frustration expands the knot in my throat. Start the next one. I pull a promising cracked spine tome, but it's a fucking weather almanac. Arts and crafts? Arx shows me the painted cover by one. Violet, Imogen warns. That giant-ass door is going to seal us in here in 15 minutes. This is not how this was supposed to go. But isn't that the story of my life? These last couple of months, the propaganda should have opened my eyes to the other cadets. Mira should have believed me, and Darna should be awake. Take a breath, Xaden orders. You look like you're about to pass out, and I can't catch you. What if this is all for nothing? I concentrate on lowering my heart rate, on keeping the panic from consuming me. Then tilt my head to the side and read the spines of the collections in front of me that pertains to the Isle Kingdoms. Then we'll know to look elsewhere. The only way to fail this mission is to be caught. You still have 5 minutes. Use them. Astronomy, Ark says, dropping down to read the bottom of titles and the bottom row of titles. I close my eyes, draw a deep breath, and find my center. Then I open them and step back from the shelves. In the storage of ancient documents, I recite from the scribe manual, it is not only temperature and touch that must be monitored. Glad to see you haven't changed that much. Arik's mouth curves into a first smile I've seen from him in years. But light. I glance up. Light will still inks pigment and crack the leather of spines and covers. One time, I heard her recite the entire unification agreement while climbing the battlements of Kaldir. Eric notes, moving to the top of the next bookcase. Light. They'd have to be hidden from light. I start searching for track marks on the floor that might signal another hidden door, or cubby, or something. Thought we weren't talking, Xaden drawls. Wasn't talking to you, he glances at Imogen. So it's not all marked ones you hate, she replies, folding her arms across her chest. Why would I hate you? Ark puts the tome back. Your parents led a righteous rebellion, and from what I can tell, you're just trying to do the same. I hate him for killing my brother." "Fair enough." Imogen starts to tap her foot. "Where would your father keep his most precious possessions?" I ask Arik. "He'd want to show it off, right?" "He'd keep it within easy reach," Arik agrees. And are you going to tell me, what it is you guys are trying to ward? It's a rebel outpost, isn't it?" Zayden's eyes meet mine, and I prod the wood pieces between the drawers on the centerpiece, looking for a pop-out compartment. King Tory would keep the journals within reach. "It's the only logical thing to do," Arik says, dropping to the floor and looking before the center pedestal. "To establish your wards that aren't dependent on Basgaiaths, because you know you'll be waging war on two fronts. There's nothing under here," he stands. "Where is it? Uh, Drathis? That's the most logical choice. Close to both the Navarre border and the sea." "Violet, we have to go," Imogen warns, walking toward the guard and rolling up the sleeve of her cream robes. "King Tory would want to show them off." I reach for the velvet tablecloth and pull it off. "There!" I point to the circle of glass set in the top of the pedestal. "Arik, beneath the glass." Two leather tomes barely larger than my hand, perfect for keeping in a rucksack, while writing the first dragons. "Not glass, another set of wards." He leans over the cabinet and reaches in, then lets out a sharp hiss, his face contorting in pain as he pulls out both books. "Fuck!" He sets them on the edge of the cabinet, then holds his hands up. I watch in horror as blisters the sides of my thumbs swell over every inch of skin that passes through the wards. "I think those wards know I wasn't him," he grimaces. "Let's go." I unbelt my robes and reveal the two cream satchels Jacinia gave me for this exact reason, then carefully put one tome in each. "2 minutes," Imogen shouts from where she's kneeled next to the guards, her hands on the larger one's head. Zayden drops 2 wineskins into their laps, and I snatch the tablecloth from the floor, then throw it over the case. "Zinniel may love you, but let's not test him." Arik grits through his teeth, holding out a blistered hand. "It's going to hurt," I protest, tying my belt tight. "And I'm not leaving you in here." He grabs hold of my hand and grunts in pain as he pulls us through the wards and into the hallway. My hand is sticky when he lets go. "We have to run," Zayden gestures down the hallway, and I do exactly that. Run. When the robe gets in the way, I gather the fabric in my hands and sprint following Zayden as he races up the stairs. "Bet you're glad we've been running every morning," Imogen calls from behind me as we turn and turn and turn, the staircase dizzying me by the time we emerge into the classroom. Zayden reaches for the lever Jacinia used, and as soon as Imogen and Arik are clear, he pushes. We wait only long enough to see that the entrance begins closing before taking off again. My chest heaves as we run down the hallways, Zayden taking every turn Jacinia did, never once questioning himself. Either he's really certain of this path, or he knows we can't afford the time to even debate. We reach the main library, and the bells ring out, signaling an hour has passed. "Faster!" Zayden demands. Then they peal once. There is no faster, but I don't have enough breath to snap back at him. Our boots pound against the marble as we race between the tables. Twice. "Run!" Sawyer shouts from the entrance. Oh God, it's the door. 3 times. It's closing on its own, and the locking mechanism won't allow it to open until a full 12 hours passes. The muscles in my thighs burn in protest. I skid as we turn at the last of the tables, sliding into the end of the bookshelf and hitting my shoulder hard enough to wince. A fourth. Zayden falls back to run at my side, and but he's the faster of us. Take the books, I shout between gasping breaths. You can make it. A fifth. You stay, I stay. He lifts a hand, sprinting with it outstretched, and shadows fly from the walls to push against the closing door as we pass the study table. Sawyer clears the narrow path that remains between the thick steel of the door and its casing. The bell rings out a sixth time. Zayden pushes me through the doorway first, and once I'm in, I look back, my breath's ragged and my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my head. Imogen races by, and Zayden reaches into the doorway as the seventh bell peals. Oh gods, he's going to lose an arm, and Arik. They're not going to make it. Woo-wee! That's a way to end a chapter. Alright, it's the end of chapter 33. Alright, so we will take a quick break here, and we'll come back with chapter 34. Alright. Oh, I put my phone right in front of the timer. Oh, we got 3 more chapters left, guys. Halfway through reading today. Yay. Alright. Xaden yanks Auric through just as the door slams shut, shadows scattering along the floor like fallen leaves. I sag, leaning over and bracing my hands above my knees as I gasp for air. You made it. Rhiannon ducks her head to mine, smiling wide. And we have to keep making it, Xaden reminds us. Robes off, keep to the plan. My heart slows somewhat, and I straighten, then shrug out of my scribe's robes, putting them in Quinn's outstretched palms. Bodhi helps Auric out of his, careful with his blistered hands. Did you get them? Jacinia signs, hope lightening her face. I nod. Will they suspect you? Nisea looks more unconscious than asleep against the wall. Not if I get us back to the dorms quickly, she replies. I'll take care of him, Imogen says, heading over to Nisea. He shouldn't remember much. I hit him from behind, Sawyer admits, stuffing the robes into a large cream laundry bag. I translate for Jacinia. I'll just berate him for falling asleep, she signs back, offering Sawyer a smile, and I translate. He blinks, pausing for a long second before taking the last robe, Auric's, and putting it into the bag. Damn your hands. The blisters that have popped are bleeding, and those that haven't look like they might go any second. That's a rebound burn, Bodhi says. It will clear up overnight if treated. Change to the plan. I glance at Xaden, but he merely lifts an eyebrow. Riddick, take Auric to your room and keep his hands hidden. Go to the infirmary and ask for Dyer. A mender will draw too much attention. It might take him some time to report if he's not on duty, but he should keep quiet if you call in the debt he owes me. You'll have to sneak him into the quadrant. Good idea. I can do that. She nods to the guys. Come on now. The 3 of them take off down the hallway. I'll take the laundry, Jacinia sighs. I translate for Sawyer, and he hands over the bag. Let's move. Or signs. Let's move, Xaden orders. Go, Jacinia urges. We're clear here. Thank you, I sign, then head out with Xaden and the others. How did it go for you? Xaden asks Quinn as we pass the stairs on our left and continue toward the healer quadrant. I projected into commons and made it clear I was looking for lemonade because we've all been drinking in Imogen's room. She grins, a dimple popping in her cheek, and then I managed to take a walk as Violet and Rhiannon. My mouth drops and I nearly stumble. You projected looking like someone else? She nods. I can distort my own features a little, but it's way easier in the astral plane. My signet is stronger because Kruth was my great-aunt's dragon. But she's not a direct descendant, so I don't have to worry about going mad like those whose dragons bond in the direct familial line. Dragons aren't supposed to even get close to family lines for that exact reason. Like, they listen to human rules. She glances at Imogen. I still can't quite get the right shade of pink for your hair. We fall quiet as we pass by the infirmary. The last obstacle before we can split up in the quadrant as planned. Well, that was blissfully uneventful. Bodhi pushes open the door to the bridge. Speak for yourself, Imogen replies, smacking him in the chest as she walks by. You weren't in charge of keeping Xaden calm while Arik had Violet trapped behind the wards with him. I scoff because we both know that's not how that went down. Xaden's jaw ticks. We part once we reach the other side of the bridge. Imogen and Quinn take the stairs to their rooms. Bodhi and Sawyer head to Commons to make as much of a scene as they can in order to be remembered, and Xaden and I climb to the first floor and escape into the courtyard. The October air cools my flushed cheeks. You feel all right? Xaden asks as we pass a group of cadets. Thirsty from sprinting, but I don't bother fighting the smile that stretches across my face. But good. He glances my way, his gaze flickering to my mouth, then tugs me into one of the shadowy alcoves carved into the thick walls. That smile, he murmurs, before his mouth takes mine in a hungry kiss. I arch against him, spearing my hands in his hair as I kiss him back with everything I feel. It's not slow or sensuous like the ones we shared in my room. This is hard and fast and happy. We're both smiling when we break apart. We did it, I say with my hands, as my hands fall to his shoulders. We did it, he agrees, resting his forehead against mine. I hate leaving before I really have to. Me too. I pull back and lift one of the satchels from my shoulder, then remove the journal. But it's safer this way. You'll need to get one to Brennan. I flip the center of Warwick's journal and grin at the sprawling strokes of old Lucerish, keeping my ungloved fingers to the very edge. What I read has me grinning. Victory swelled in my chest. After we placed the last rune, we placed the wardstone where the dragons felt the deepest current of magic run. I translate slowly to Xaden, then glance up. I might be off a word or two, but it's here. I flip another few pages. The last step complete. The protections fell into place at... My face scrunches as I work out the rest. At the birth of an iron reign. I spot at least three more mentions of that term before quickly putting the journal back in the satchel. That is it. I hand it to Xaden. Take this to Brennan. He should be able to translate it. Then they won't expect you to leave until morning, so you can get out of here without being searched if you head out now. And splitting up the journals means we can read them but twice as fast. And ensures that one of them makes it out of this place. He folds the cream canvas around the journal inside, then unbuttons his flight jacket and stores the bundle against his chest before rebuttoning. I wish I could spend the night, he says, that in a gravely tone that instantly turns me on. That makes two of us. He stares at me with something that like longing, then reaches into the shadows and grabs the pack he'd stored there earlier, keeping his eyes locked with mine. He swings the pack onto his back, then reaches for my face and kisses me again. The simple pleasure of it is perfect. You are astonishing, he says, gracing my lips. I'll see you in 7 days. 7 days, I agree, fighting the urge to pull him into another kiss, and another. Now go. We have to keep the plan, remember? He kisses me hard and quick, then walks away, striding across the courtyard, like he owns it. I rub my hand over my heart, hoping to ease the ache of watching him walk away, but the hurt is nothing compared to the triumph I feel. I step into the courtyard, then look up, waiting to catch one last glimpse of him in the overcast sky as he flies southeast. For the first time in months, it's hope coursing through my veins instead of dread. We can do this. We're doing this. We have the first-hand account of how the first 6 activated their wardstones, and I know I can talk Xaden into flying for Corden to secure the luminary with me. He won't like it, but he'll do it. I just have to figure out how to get the leave approved, and until then, we'll keep doing what we're doing, smuggling out weaponry and building from within Navarre until we can stand our own. Orisha will have wards in a matter of days. I'm certain of it. Violet? I look over my shoulder and smile at Nolan as he approaches, carrying a wineskin in one hand and a pewter mug in the other. He looks so damn tired, like he's just come from a major session of or 12. Hi, Nolan. I wave. I thought that was you. I was getting some lemonade when Jack told me he saw you out here, and I remembered that you're on my mending list. He hands me the mug, then stands at my side, looking up at the sky. It's your favorite, if I remember. That's too kind of you. I lift the mug and drink deeply, slacking the thirst that's burned my throat since our little sprint through the archives. And don't worry about my shoulder. It's already healed. You know, I never got the chance to thank you for helping us during interrogation. I never liked to see you hurt, and Varish has it out for you. He drinks from his own skin, then scratches his stubbled cheek. Where's Ryerson anyway? I don't often see you apart on Saturdays. My stomach dips as Jack Barlow walks across the courtyard, Caroline Ashton at his side with some other second years from First Wing. It completely flips when he gives me a nod when I awkwardly return. Violet? Nolan prompts, following my line of sight to Jack. Everything all right? Everything is fine. And Zayden left earlier. We don't always get along. I take another sip from my lemonade, then glance down at the contents. The kitchen must have changed up the recipe because it has a funny yet familiar aftertaste. I meant what I said, Nolan says, quietly glancing at the cream satchel I carry. Cream, not black. My head blurs, my vision swimming momentarily as I swing my head to look at him. Taryn? But Taryn isn't there. Every connection I have is fuzzy. No. Oh gods, no. But I trusted Nolan with my life for years. I never liked to see you hurt, Nolan whispers, apology crinkling his brow as the mug rolls from my hand, crashing to the gravel, a heartbeat later. But I can't protect you from the consequences of your own actions when you risk the safety of every civilian in this kingdom. Bootsteps sound all around me, and the world spins, but it's Varish's face I see hovering above mine. Why, Cadet Soringale, what have you gotten yourself into? Ooh. That is the end of chapter 35. Alrighty, guys. Alright. We're going to take a quick break here, and I will be back in a bit with chapter 35. Wait, 34. Yeah, 35, yeah. Alright, guys. All right. Get into 35. So this one's going to be a bit of a long chapter. I've already checked how many pages it is. Let's see. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 pages. And that is counting one side each. So, yeah. Alright. So let's get comfy as we dip into 35. I blink slowly, my vision coming into focus with all the urgencies of a snail. Dull, throbbing pressure radiates forward from the back of my head, and the mass of gray clears slightly, revealing stones set in a spiral pattern. A patch of them charred from smoke. A ceiling? That's not our concern, a man says, his voice unfamiliar and raspy. We follow orders. Fear-laced adrenaline charges through me, but I lock my muscles tight, forcing myself to remain as still as possible so I can get a grip on what the fuck is happening. It is if she finds out, another voice, this one female, replies. It smells like wet moss and iron, and the air is cool but thick. We're underground. A steady dripping sound fills the silence. She's in Caldeer. We have a week until she's scheduled to return. The raspy voiced one says, and I'm sitting. That's what's digging into the base of my skull, the back of a chair. The weight across my wrists and ankles is familiar, and I'm strapped in, just like assessment. Taryn, I reach out, but the connection is foggy, and my power doesn't rise. The lemonade. The satchel. Nolan. Fuck. I've been caught. Ah, there she is. A grizzled face appears over mine, and the man smiles, revealing 3 missing teeth. Major, your prisoner is awake. He retreats, and I lift my head, taking in my surroundings. The prison cell is wedge-shaped, and a door that looks exactly like the one in the interrogation chamber makes up the narrowest portion. But this cell isn't for instructional purposes. My jailer wears infantry blue, which means this must be the brig. I assume the wooden shelf at my right is meant to be a bed, but at least there is a toilet on the other side of that. Fear pulses through my veins at the sight of the unwashed, blood-stained walls, and I quickly look away, scanning the rest of the cell as my head clears. Nora, the woman who always dumps my bag, leans against the wooden table, her arms folded, and her face puckers into lines of what I think might be concern as the door opens beside her. The smile on Major Varish's face forms a pit in my stomach as he enters. Oh gods, the others, are they here? Have they been hurt? A boulder lodges in my throat, making it nearly impossible to draw a full breath. Out, he tells the other man, who scurries like a spider into the main chamber, but doesn't shut the door behind him, giving me a glimpse of a desk covered in my black hilted daggers before Varish blocks the view. I promise you I'd try your way once, Varish calls over his shoulder. Terror expands the pressure in my throat. I can't reach Taryn or Zayden. Can't call on my signet or even my knife skills, since my hands are bound. I'm alone and fucking defenseless. Nolan walks in, his steps sluggish, his eyes heavy with sadness. We just need you to answer a few questions, Violet. You drugged me, my voice cracks. I trusted you. I've always trusted you. Clear this up quickly and we can return to trusting each other, Nolan says. Let's start with why you stole Lyra's journal. He reaches behind Nora and brings out the book. Every interrogation technique I've been taught deserts me, and I stare. Just stare at the journal, my mind scrambling for a way out of this when there clearly is none. I wanted to be wrong, he says gently, but Markham sounded the alarm at the royal wards within the king's private library. But Markham sounded the alarm that the royal wards within the king's private library had been breached, and then I saw you standing in the courtyard with a scribe's satchel. Which is common to transport books from the archives, I counter. Damn it. We were stupid for not assuming tripping the wards would alert Markham. And had that been the case, you would have woken up in the infirmary with a headache, and my most sincere apologies. Nolan holds up the scarred leather journal, the very key to protecting Orisha. But you carried this. We're not here to argue that point. Varish watches me with rapt fascination. Answer my questions, and we'll just let you go sleep that headache off before class tomorrow. Lie, even once, and it's going to get messy. So it's already Sunday. 3 questions. Nolan shoots a stern look in Varish's directions. We want to know how you did it, who you did it with, and most importantly, why. The boulder in my throat loosens, and I fill my lungs completely, willing my panic to subside. Then, sorry. They don't know who, which means no one else is chained up down here. Not Xaden, or Rhiannon, or Arik, or any of the others. It's just me. Being alone just turned into a blessing. And I'm not defenseless, but I'm still in full possession of my mind. Let's start with how you breached a royal ward, Vera suggests. It would be impossible for me to breach a royal ward, seeing as I'm not royal. I lift my chin, mentally preparing for the worst. She's telling the truth, Nora says, tilting her head to the side. My signet detects lies. Tell one, and I'll know. My heart jolts. Truth it is, then. After this is over, I'll have to explain my answers, or lack thereof, to my mother. Every single word matters. Violet, please. Nolan pleads, setting the journal on the table. Just explain. Was it an unsanctioned squad challenge? Some kind of dare between second years? They're still trying to ascertain exactly what's missing. Help us. Tell us. And this will go much easier for you. Trying to ascertain. They can't get in. You're jumping to the why part. Varish rolls his eyes. Honestly, Nolan, this is why you haven't been suited to interrogation. His pale gaze locks on mine. How? How can you assume that book isn't a reproduction if you haven't verified if the original is missing? I asked Nolan. Nolan glances sideways at Varish. Markham said the coverlet wasn't disturbed. And yet, we have the fucking journal. Varish walks a slow circle around me. Is it a reproduction? He's trying to catch me in a lie. I wouldn't know, seeing as I haven't examined it. There hadn't been time. Truth, Nora rules. Vera stops in front of me, and I look straight into those pale, soulless eyes. I'm guessing you have no proof, Major Varish, because none of you can cross a royal ward, and no one is volunteering to tell the king that there's been an alarm, false or otherwise. Please, let me remind you, the last time someone accused me of lying without proof, they found themselves assigned to the farthest outpost Lucerys has to offer. Ah, you mean Atos. He doesn't even flinch. No worries. I'll ferret out the evidence he needs while I have you here under my supervision. Since you're proving to be combatant instead of helpful, as Nolan has hoped, Grady is such a stickler for rules. Grady is such a stickler for rules, so our last encounter wasn't nearly as fruitful as I would have liked. He crouches looking at me like I'm a shiny new toy he can't wait to break. Who stole that book for you? He looks pointedly at me, because we both know you didn't. Selective truths. That's all I have within my arsenal to protect my friends. I alone put that particular book into its bag. She's telling the truth, Nora remarks. I glance from Varish to Nolan, and I'm done answering your questions. If you want to put me on trial, then call a quorum of wing leaders and do so according to the rules put forth in the Codex. Varish stands slowly, then backhands me. Pain erupts in my cheek as my head snaps to the side under the force of the blow. Major! Nolan shouts. Nora, order an immediate formation and check the hands of every cadet in the quadrant. Varish says as I blink through the sting. Nolan, you're dismissed. I breathe deeply, preparing for the coming pain as Varish rolls up the sleeves of his uniform. I try to focus on the misshapen brick on the wall. Try like hell to dissociate from my body. No matter what happens in this room, they can't change the fact that Xaden got out with war external. Brennan will have what he needs to raise Orisha's wards. Whatever agony Varish has planned will be worth it. Violence. Remember, it's only the body that's fragile. You are unbreakable. I cling to Xaden's words. I'll call you when you're needed, Varish promises, waving Nolan off. Yeah, when he's needed to mend me. Don't worry, I'll start small, Varish tells me, and you have all the power here, Cadet Sorengale. This stops as soon as you talk. I cry out when he dislocates the first finger, then scream when he breaks it. That's a pause. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry, taking another, a little mental break here, real second. All right. Drip, drip, drip. I pretend the sound is rain against my window, pretending the hard, unforgiving wood under my cheek is Xaden's chest, that the arm bent at an unnatural angle in front of me, throbbing in time with my pulse, belonged to someone else. Sleep if you can. The suggestion is soft, the voice so achingly familiar that I squeeze my undamaged eyes shut. You're not really here. You're a hallucination from pain and dehydration. A mirage. Maybe, Liam says, and I open my eyes just enough to see him sit on the floor beside me. He pulls his knees up, resting his elbow on the side of the bunk just beneath my fractured arm. Or maybe Malik sent me as a kindness. Malik doesn't do kindness, nor does he allow souls to wander about. Kudos to my brain. He's an excellent hallucination. He looks exactly as he had the last time I saw him, dressed in flight leathers and wearing a smile that makes my heart ache. I'm not wandering, Violet. I'm exactly where I need to be. Everything hurts. Unending pain threatens to pull me into the blackness again. But unlike the last 2 times, I fight to stay conscious. It's the first moment I've been alone in hours, and I no longer fear the chair in the middle of the room. Now I know more bones break when Varish takes me out of it. I know, Liam says gently, but you're staying strong. I'm so proud of you. Of course, that's what my subconscious would say. Exactly what I need to hear. I run my tongue over the split of my lip and taste blood. Varish hasn't taken a blade to me, but my skin has split from his blows in so many places that I feel like one giant open wound. The last time I moved, my uniform crunched from dried blood. Bring in her squad, Nora suggests from the antechamber. She'll break as soon as you start on them. Liam's jaw flexes and fear knots my empty stomach. She didn't during assessment, Varish responds. Gods, I wish I didn't know his voice. And bringing them in means they'll know what's happened. And given the relic winding around Imogen Cardulo's arms, I doubt she'll be willing to wipe their memories. Killing them presents an entirely different set of issues too. You're sure none of the cadets have hand injuries? I inspected them all myself, Nora replies. Devera and Emetario are asking where she is, as is the rest of her squad. She's missed class today. It's Monday. I reach for Terran, but the bond is still fogged. Right, because they forced that solution down my throat once again between shattering my arm and snapping my ankle. He didn't even have to take off my boots to make that happen. But it's only my body they've broken. I haven't spoken a single word. That means you've been here 2 days, Liam says. It will be another 5 before Xaden realizes I'm missing. No doubt they're monitoring correspondence to make sure someone doesn't alert him. He can't react, Liam. If he does, he'll risk everything. You think he's not already losing his shit? A corner of Liam's mouth rises into a cocky smirk. Hold on, let me restart this music in a second. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ugh. Hold on, that should be better. Wait. Right there. Okay, so sorry. You think he's not already losing his shit? A corner of Liam's mouth rises into a cocky smirk. I've missed so much. I'd bet he already knows. Sagael will have felt Terran's panic. That dragon of yours might not be able to reach you this deep under Bezkaya, but Xaden's going to rip this place apart brick by brick. You just have to survive. He can't risk the movement. He won't. Xaden's priorities have always been clear, and damn if it's not one of the things I love about him. He will. The door opens, but I don't have the energy or the ability to rise, to turn my head, or even lift a hand. My heart jumps, pounding like it sees the chance to flee this hellscape of a body. I don't know how to tell it that Mira's armor will keep it safe long enough to wish, long after it wishes it could just stop. Virgil lowers himself to my eye level, no more than a foot away from Liam. You must be in so much pain. It can all stop. Maybe Nolan was right. Let's forget how you stole the book. You're clearly not going to give up your accomplices. But I need to know why. Why would you need a journal from one of the first 6? I've been reading it. Interesting history. What are you trying to ward, Sorengale? He waits, but I keep my words to myself. He's way too fucking close. We could just stop dancing around each other and have a true discussion, he offers. Surely you have questions I could answer about why it is we don't involve ourselves in Poromia's issues. Is that what it is? Righteous indignation? We could have an equal exchange of information, since we both know it wasn't griffins that killed your friend's dragon. I startle, and pain washes over me, fresh and violent. Don't fall for it, Liam shakes his head. You know he's trying to play you. But how much do you know? Varish asks But how much do you know? Varish asks softly, like it's a kindness. And what have you been doing with the marked ones? We've been watching them for years, of course, until Cadet Atos gave you up. All we'd had to go on was speculation. But then you didn't come back to Bezgaeth. No outpost reported you seeking a healer, so I'm going to rephrase my earlier question. Where did you go, Cadet Sorrengail? Where are you trying to ward? This is so much bigger than me stealing the book. Odds you're good. Or you're in too much pain to react. Varish tilts his head, reminding me of an owl as he studies me. Do you know what my signet is, Cadet Sorrengail? Why it is I'm so good in this room? It's classified, but we're all friends here, aren't we? I stare at him, but don't reply. I don't see people. He tilts his head and studies me. I see their weaknesses, and it's a great advantage in battle. Honestly, you surprised me when we met. From everything I've heard about the youngest Sorrengail, I expected to look at you and see pain, broken bones, or maybe shame from never living up to Mom's expectations. He skims his finger over the obvious break in my forearm, but doesn't apply pressure. The threat is enough to make my chest tighten. But I saw nothing. Someone taught you to shield, and I'll admit you're very good at it. He leans closer. But you want to know what I see now that we've cut you off from your power? Hatred wells within me, and I hope he sees it. By Dune, must I carry all the conversation? Yes, of course I want to know, he says, rising his voice in mock imitation. Well, Cadet Sorrengail, your weaknesses are the people you love. So many people to choose from. Squad leader Matthias and the rest of your squad, your sister, your dragons. A twisted smile curves his mouth. Lieutenant Ryerson? My heartbeat skips. Hold steady, Violet, Liam says. She's triggered, Nora notes from the doorway. I know, Varish replies, and I bet you're thinking he'll be the one who comes for you, aren't you? He admires the bruises on my forearm like they're artwork. That comes Saturday, when you don't show in Samara. He'll come looking, even if it means violating his leave policy. You're pinning your hopes that he'll break the rules for you, that he'll save you, since your own mother hasn't lifted a finger for you. My throat moves even though I'm too dehydrated to swallow. He won't wait until Saturday, Liam promises. That's what I'm counting on, Varish nods. I waited all year for you to break a rule so I could question you under Codex. Your mom's a real rule follower, that one. But you have no idea the joy it gives me to know that Ben Ryerson's son will break Codex by abandoning his post to come to your aid. That he'll be strapped to this chair next, and he will give me the answers I seek. Wait, what? Shit, he's not just questioning you. He's setting a trap for Zayden, Liam tenses. My heart starts to pound. You have so much power here, Sorrengail. You alone can save Lieutenant Ryerson from what awaits him should he arrive. Tell me what I want to know, and I won't hurt him. For a heartbeat, I'm tempted. The thought of Zayden being tortured makes my hand curl and my nails catch at the rough grain on of the wooden slabs. Where are you trying to ward? What are the marked ones up to? Hold the line, Vi. Liam rests his hand against my side, and gods, it feels so real. Talking would lead to the deaths of every living thing on this continent. If they had anything on Xaden, he'd already be in custody. They're not going to hurt him. They can't. Logically, I know that, but emotionally. No? You sure? You can save him. Right here, right now. Because I think he'll come, and when he does, I will break him, and I'll make you watch. Varish promises in a whisper, but don't worry. You'll be screaming your secrets in no time. Of course, by then, I won't need them. I'll have who I really want. His gaze drops to my neck, as if he can see my pulse skyrocketing. Ah, you see it now, don't you? Varish grins. I'm sure you think he's indestructible, but let me assure you, I was lucky enough to glimpse the most powerful rider of your generation fumble his shields like a novice once. It was for less than a second, but that was all I needed to see what it would take to shatter him. We'll have all the information we need in a matter of days. You're not the prize, Sorengale. You're the tool. Fuck him. Does Solus enjoy hiding? My voice croaks as I cough. He blinks but quickly masks his surprise. Just because you have blocked my ability to talk to Terran doesn't mean he doesn't know exactly what you've done to me. My lips splits again and I force a smile. You're hunting Xaden, but Terran is hunting Solus. You're the weaker on both counts. I might die in this chamber, but I promise you will. Just because I can't kill you without losing my target doesn't mean I won't shatter you over and over until he arrives. We're going to have fun, you and I. He stands, then brushes his hands on the thighs of his uniform before walking out. I hear his faint words through the door. Call Nolan in. We need to start fresh. But Varish is wrong. Xaden won't come. He'll choose the safety of the revolution. I'm now one of the people he can't save. I just have to hope that everyone is wrong, that he'll survive my death. Don't leave me, I whisper to Liam. I don't care that I'm far gone enough to hallucinate, but my brain is using Liam as a crutch as long as he stays, as long as I'm not alone. I won't, I swear. Alright, give me a second, I'm gonna take a quick drink. Oh, okay, hold on a second, my bubbles went into my nose. Alright, sorry. We're back. Drip, drip. I lose track of the hours, the beatings, the questions I refuse to answer. Nolan visits twice, or maybe it's 3 times. Life has varying degrees of pain, but Liam never leaves. He's there every time I open my eyes, watching, talking me through the torture, holding my sanity together while simultaneously proving it's already left. Ooh, excuse me again. At least once a day, they chain me into the chair and force the serum down my throat, blocking me from Terran. I eat the food they provide because survival matters most, and I sleep after each mending session, only to wake and be broken again and again. My ribs are cracked thanks to the well-placed kick, and my left arms snap in the same exact place Varish broke it the first time. Which tells me that not only am I not at full strength, Nolan isn't either. We could bring in Jack Barlow if this doesn't work. Nora's voice rises, bringing me fully awake from where I dozed off in the chair. Gods, I know he's been waiting for retribution. Tempting, Varys replies. I'm sure he'd be happy to find new and inventive ways to motivate her, but we can't trust him not to kill her. Can't trust that kid for anything, really, can we? Too unpredictable. Still can't believe that fucker survived, Liam mutters from where he stands, leaning against the wall to the right of the door. Gods, I'm sore and swollen at the broken places and discolored on the bits of skin I can see. Everything hurts. I'm not even sure I'm me anymore, as much as I am pain encased in a failing body. But Rhiannon isn't being put through this, or Riddick, or Sawyer, or Imogen, or Quinn. Everyone I care about is safe. That's what I grasp onto. You know Sloane hates me, I whisper. Sloane can be tough. Liam shoots me an apologetic half smile. You're doing a good job. Yeah, I'm a great role model. That's all I can do to keep from rolling my eyes. You asked to see me, sir? Down here, there have to be a dozen guards in the stairwell. That voice. Fear slides down my spine, leaving chills in its wake as Liam's head jerks towards the door. Dane. I'm so fucked. We all are. I did, Varys responds. I need your help. Navarre needs your help. What can I do? I twist against the straps that hold me captive, but their buckles hold strong. Stay calm, Liam whispers, like any of them can hear him. We had a breach of security this week, and classified documents were stolen. We caught the perpetrator and prevented the loss of intelligence, but the prisoner... There's a dramatic pause. It's blatantly obvious by connection that this writer is working with what we suspect to be a second rebellion, intent on destroying Navarre. For the safety of every civilian within our wards, I need the prisoner's memories, Wing Leader. You must extract the truth, or our very way of life will be compromised. Well, when he puts it that way, I pull against the bonds again, sending ricochets of agony through my nervous system. I have no shields, no way to block him out. Everyone in Orisha is going to die, and it will be my fault. I'm going to warn you, Varys says gently. The prisoner's identity may come as a shock. The door swings open before I can fully prepare myself. Varys walks in, leaving Dane standing in the doorway, his eyes wide as his gaze sweeps over me, lingering over my swollen, purple-splotched hands bound to the arms of the chair, and the face I'm sure matches them. He can't even see the worst of it under my uniform. The broken bones, the contusions. Violet? Please help me, I whisper, even knowing I'm begging a Dane that no longer exists. The one I knew before he crossed the parapet, and not the 103rd year in front, or not the hardened 3rd year in front of me. You've been torturing her for 5 days? Dane accuses Varys. 5 days. It's only Thursday. Since she stole Lyra's journal from the king's private library, Varys sounded bored. Absolutely. She might have been a childhood friend, Atos, but we both know where her loyalties now lie. With Ryerson and the war he's planning against us. She wants to bring down the wards. That's not true. I mean to shout, but it comes out more as a whisper. My voice hoarse from days of screaming. Varys has twisted everything. I would never hurt civilians, Dane. You know. I don't know shit about you anymore, Dane counters, his face twisting in anger. There's a war out there, I tell him, desperate to break through before he breaks me. Peromish civilians are dying, and we're not doing anything to help. We're just watching it happen, Dane. You think we should involve ourselves in their civil war? Dane argues. My shoulders slump. I think you've been lied to for so long that you won't recognize the truth even when it hurts, or when it hits you in the face. I could say the same for you, Dane looks towards Varys. You're sure she was trying to take down the wards? I've had the journal sent back to the archives for safekeeping, but yes. The book she stole gave detailed instructions on how the wards were built and could be used as a map to unravel them. Varish clasped Dane's shoulder. I know this is hard to hear, but people aren't always who we want them to be. Liam pushes off the wall and walks around the pair, coming to my side and crouching down. I don't think you're going to be able to stop this. Me either. I try not to be angry with her. Try not to be angry with her, Varish tells Dane, his expression shifting to sympathetic. We can't always help who we fall in love with, can we? Dane stiffens. Ryerson pulled her into something she couldn't possibly understand. You know that. You saw it happen last year. He sighs. I didn't want to have to show you this, but... He pulls my alloy-embedded dagger from his own sheath. She was carrying this, too. The metal you see is what powers the wards. We think they've been smuggling them out to wherever they're planning to stage this war. Weakening our wards little by little. Is that true? Dean's gaze flies to mine. I spot Nora leaning against the door jamb and shudder. I can't explain. It's not how he's portraying it. I don't need you to explain, Dane snarls. I've been asking you to talk to me for months, and now I see why you won't. Why you're adamant I never touch you. You're scared I'll see what you've been hiding. He stalks forward, and I shrink back in the chair. Zayden, forgive me. Remember your ethics, Cadet, Varish instructs, especially given your attachment to Cadet Sorigale. Search like you've been practicing, but focus on the word ward. Okay, give me 1 second, I gotta reposition my headphones. There we go. Lieutenant Nora, a voice calls from the antechamber. All leadership is being ordered to assemble. There have been incidents at the border. By whose order? Nora demands. General Sorengale's. We'll be there shortly, Nora replies, waving him off. We might already be too late, Varish says, shaking his head. Ryerson deserted days ago, according to the reports we received this morning. We're gathering the marked ones now. My breath seizes. He deserted. He could be safe in Arisha right now, raising the wards. But Imogen, Bodhi, Sloane, they're the ones leadership is gathering. Liam's hand settles on my shoulder, steadying me. They'll kill them all, and once they know about Arisha, they'll hunt the rest. He can search your memory, Liam tells him, but logic says he'll have to muddle through what you're thinking first. What have you done, Violet? Varish asks. Orchestrated another attack on an outpost? Find out what you can, Atos. Then that the safety of our kingdom depends on it. Time is of the essence. Dane's eyes flare, and he lifts his hands. You killed Liam, I blurt. He pauses. So you keep saying, but I only searched your memory to prove my father wrong. Violet, and all you do was prove him right. If the marked ones died betraying our kingdom, then they deserved what they got. I hate you, I whisper, the sound strangling at as my eyes prickle and burn. She's stalling, Varish snips. Do it now, and if you see something you don't understand, I'll explain it once we know where the army is hiding. Just trust me that we are acting in the best interest of every citizen of Navarre. Our only goal is keeping them safe. Dane nods and reaches for me, hesitating at the last second. She's bruised everywhere. Show him what you want him to see, Liam urges. She's nothing more than a traitor, Varish reports. Right. Dane nods, and I close my eyes the second his fingers push in on my tender, aching temples. They may have blocked me from my power, but that stems from Terran. The control over my mind, that's mine, and it's all I have left. Unlike last year, I feel Dane's presence at the edge of my mind this time, right where my shield should be, and instead of recoiling from the assault, I grab hold of that presence and throw myself into the memory, dragging Dane with me. Do we have a riot nearby? Liam asks, gravity shifting as I realize my worst nightmare is indeed a living, breathing monster. 2 legs, not 4, wyvern. They'd sent us here to die. Venom with red veins distending from their eyes, killing helpless people. Blue fire, desiccated land, Soliel and fuel falling. We'll never be able to smuggle enough weaponry out to make a difference. They've kept us in the dark, erased our very history to avoid conflict, to keep us safe, while innocent people die. Liam. God's Liam. I dig my mental fingernails into Dane and hold him there, making him feel it with me again. The helplessness, the chest-crushing sorrow, the eye-blurring rage. It's been my honor, Liam's last words to me. My vengeance in the sky, fighting along Terran's back, armed with the only weapon that will kill the Dark Wielder, doing her best to slay my dragon and end me. The moment the dagger slides into my side, I stop pulling Dane and start shoving, screaming both physically and mentally, filling my head with every ounce of pain that's been inflicted upon me in the last 4 days. Dane gasps, and his hands fall from my temples. I throw my eyes open, the sound of my screams still echoing in my ears as he draws back, horror etched on every line of his face. I'm here, Liam promises, and I still don't regret it, Vi, not 1 second. Wetness tracks down my cheeks. Did you get what you wanted? I managed to ask through my shredded vocal cords. You're smuggling weapons, Dane says, slowly searching my eyes. Stealing our weapons to aid another kingdom? My stomach sinks at my complete, absolute failure. Out of everything I showed him, that's what he took. I wrench my gaze from his to look at Liam, memorizing the lines of his face and those trademark blue eyes. I'm so sorry I failed you. You never failed me. Not once. He whispered, shaking his head. We pulled you into our war. If anyone's, it's me. As you should be, Varish sneers. If Dane has conquered my memory, seen the weapon runs I've helped with, then he knows it all. A wave of helplessness rolls over, stealing my resolve, my determination not to break. All I have left inside me is pain, and that isn't worth fighting for. Not if I've just given up everything, everyone that means anything to me. They want us now, the man shouts from the antechamber. Varish, Nora prompts. It's a summons for all leadership. What did you find? Varish turns to Dane, losing his composure. Where are they staging from? Give me that knife, Dane demands, holding out his hand. I want to compare it to the one I saw in the memory, the ones they're stealing from us. Just don't kill her. We need to find and question Ryerson first. Use her as leverage. Varish hands my dagger over to Dane. He glances over the weapon and nods. This is the one. They're taking them out by the dozen, arming the enemy. I saw everything. Brown eyes met mine. There's at least one drift involved. My heart plummets. He knows. He saw despite my best efforts. They'll question me again. Keep me prisoner to lure Zayden, but they'll never let me leave here alive. This place I called home, the halls I walked with my father, the archives I worshipped alongside the gods, the field where I flew with Terran and Andarna, the halls where I laughed with my friends, and the rooms where Xaden held me will be my tomb. And the boy I used to climb trees with along its river will be my demise. I sag, the last of the fight draining out of me in defeat. Good, good. Now tell me where they are, Varish orders. Dane grips a dagger in his left hand, spinning it so the blade runs parallel with his forearm, and as he brings it to my throat. You should have trusted me, Violet. I don't dare to even swallow as I hold the asshole's gaze. I won't die afraid. None of this would have happened if you'd trusted me. The hurt in his eyes only feeds my rage. How dare he look wounded? And now it's too late. Varish! Nora yells as shouts fill the antechamber. Varish turns towards her, and I feel the knife slip against my skin. Dane is going to kill me. You're all right. Liam steadies my shoulder. I'll be right here. I'm not going to leave you. Terran and Darna. Gods, I hope they survive it. Xaden has to live. He just has to. I love him. I should have told him every day, been honest about my feelings, even through the fights and the doubt. Now, instead of giving those feelings back to Xaden, they'll die with me. My vision blurs and tears streak down my cheeks, but I lift my chin. Dane whips his arms back, and I wait for the forward surge, the cut, the pain, and the flow of blood. It doesn't come. Varish staggers backwards, holding his side, his eyes bulging as a roaring sound fills my ears. Dane brings the bloodied knife to the straps at my wrists, cutting one free, then the other. I don't know if we can fight our way out of here, he says quickly, dropping down to cut my ankles free. Can you move? What the fuck is happening? Atos! Dane shouts, forcing something into my hand. You have to move or we're dead. Oh, wait, whoa. Atos, Varish snarls, falling back against the wall, then sliding down the stone. He leaves behind a fresh trail of red. Violet, Dane shouts, forcing something into my hand. You have to move or we're dead. I wrap the fingers of my unbroken hand around the familiar hilt as Dane draws the sword at his side, holding it at Nora's throat when he lunges into the cell. Let us pass, and you'll live. He holds the blade steady and hooks his other arm around my back as I try to stand, holding me upright when my legs try to fail. They're not newly broken since Nolan's last visit that I can remember, and I whimper at the pressure against my cracked ribs and the nausea as the room seems to spin. I make no such promises. The low, menacing threat weakens my knees the second before a hand with a dagger reaches around Nora's throat, slicing without hesitation. She falls, a torrent of blood flowing from the gaping wound in her neck. I look up into the wrath of doom in the form of gold fleck on its eyes. Alrighty. Alright, that is the end of chapter 35. That was a very long chapter. And we continue, or we'll go into, oh god, that was like almost an hour worth of reading. Alright. So we'll take a quick break and we'll come back with chapter 36. Alright. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done, we're almost done, we're almost done! One chapter left, and then we're done for today. I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. Woo! Alright, sorry. Alright. Getting to 36. This is not as long as 35 was, but it's longish. Rage shines in his eyes as Xaden holds his sword in his right hand and a dagger in his left, both dripping blood, both aimed to strike Dane. Oh gods. No! I shout, lurching to put myself in front of Dane, but my feet don't cooperate, and the ground rushes up to meet mine. Or to meet me. Bleh. Shit. Steel rattles against the floor as Dane catches me with both hands. The edges of my vision turns black as pain threatens to pull me under. Every inch of my body screams in protest as I find my feet. But it's not just Dane's arms holding me. There are soft bands of shadows at my hips and beneath my arms. Two Xadens appear, but merge into one as I fight to stay conscious. He saved me, I whisper. Don't kill him. Stabbing Varish earns Dane a chance, right? Xaden's gaze flickers to mine, and then he does a double take. Gods, Violet. Shadows explode around us, cracking stone and decimating the wooden slab of a bed marked with my blood. Guess my face is just as beaten as the rest of me. You came. I stumbled forward, and Dane is smart enough to let me go. Xaden catches me, shadows grasping the sword as he splays his hands over my back and cradles me against his chest with a light touch, like he's afraid I might break. There's nowhere in existence you could go that I wouldn't find you, remember? He drops his lips to the dirt-frayed, blood-splattered remains of my braid and kisses the top of my head. Leather and mint overpower the iron and moss scent of the cell, and, for the first time since Nolan drugged me, I feel safe. Tears soaked his chest. His or mine, I'm unsure. God's damn, Garrick says from behind Xaden. You took off running and then couldn't save a single one for me? Took me forever to clear the barricade of bodies in the staircase. A smile splits my lip over again, and as I turn my face to rest my cheek above Xaden's strong, steady heartbeat. Hi, Garrick. He blanches, dropping his sword to his sides, but covers it with a quick smile. You've looked better, Violet, but I'm glad you're alive. Me too. It's chaos up there, Garrick tells Xaden, sparring a questioning glance for Dane. Leadership is launching all over the place to get to the border. Then it worked, Xaden states. Varish groans and our heads all whip in his direction. You're turning traitor? He accuses Dane as he struggles to his feet, still holding the wound to his side. Oh, is that what's happening? Garrick asks, looking between Dane and Varish. Your father will be so disappointed, Varish hisses through bloody clenched teeth. Coughing up blood means he doesn't have long. If he already knows what Violet showed me, then I'm the one disappointed in him, Dane counters, picking up his sword and raising it at Varish. No, Xaden snarls. Not you. His hand flexes at my back, and shadows wrap around Varish a second before they drag him across the floor. Horror widened his eyes. The strand of black dump around him into the chair. Or dump him into the chair. What the fuck is wrong with me today? Horror. Yeah. Sorry. Then bind his wrists and ankles in place of the shackles. That honor belongs to Violet, if she wants it. She does, I reply instantly. Zayden shifts his grip, wrapping his arm around my waist and watching my reaction. I don't know where I can touch you. That's fine, I promise, gripping the alloy hilted dagger at my right hand as my left lies uselessly at my side. Dane steps back, lowering his sword as Dayton helps me walk, my feet shuffling over dried patches of my own blood on the stone floor. Barish's eyes narrow despite the pallor of his skin, and Zayden holds me steady as I lift the dagger into his chest with a trembling, weak grip, resting the point above his heart, right between his ribs. I promise you die in this room, I whisper, but I'm shaking too hard to push the blade home. It's taking everything I have to stay standing. Zayden's hand wraps around mine and he jabs forward, driving the blade into Barish's heart. I memorize the look on Barish's face as the life fades out of him, just so I can reassure myself that he's really dead when the nightmares inevitably come. I stare and stare and stare as the weight of everything that's happened closes in on me, threatening to steal my air. My throat squeezes shut and my eyes burn with prickling heat as my thoughts spiral. I just killed the vice commandant of the quadrant. What the fuck am I supposed to do now? Go back to class? And Zayden risked everything by coming here. Give us a second, and keep Atos breathing for now, Zayden orders, and I hear the room clear before he carefully pivots to face me, turning us away from Varish's body. You're alive. No matter what happened in this room, what was said, you're alive, and that's all that matters. I didn't break, I whisper. Dane, he saw right before he stabbed Varish, but I didn't break, I promise. I shake my head and my vision blurs, then clears as water trickles from my eyes. I trust you. He cradles the back of my head, his beautiful gaze boring into mine, swallowing me whole. But it wouldn't matter to me if you had. We're leaving. I'm getting you the fuck out of here. I blink. We can't go now. They'll follow us and Brennan's not ready. My face crumbles. You'll forfeit access to Bezgaia's weapons. I don't give a fuck. We'll figure it out once we're there. You'll lose everything you've worked for, my voice breaks, because of me. Then I'll have everything I need. He lowers his face, leaning in so he's all I see, all I feel. I will happily watch Arisha burn to the fucking ground again if it means you live. You don't mean that. He loves his home. He's done everything to protect his home. I do. I'm sorry if you expect me to do the noble thing I warned you. I'm not sweet, or soft, or kind, and you fell anyway. This is what you get, Violet. Me. The good, the bad, the unforgivable, all of it. I am yours. His arm wraps around the small of my back, holding me steady and close. You want to know something true? Something real? I love you. I'm in love with you. I have been since the night the snow fell in your hair and you kissed me for the first time. I'm grateful my life is tied to yours because it means I won't have to face a day without you in it. My heart only beats as long as yours does. And when you die, I'll meet Malik at your side. It's a damned good thing that you love me too, because you're stuck with me in this life and every other that could possibly follow.
No, it's so cute.
Sorry. My lips part. It's all I ever wanted, ever needed to hear. I do love you, I admit in a whisper. Glad you didn't forget. He leans in and brushes his lips over mine lightly, careful not to hurt me. Let's get out of here together. I nod. We have to move, Garrett calls out. Clear the staircase, Zayden orders, and tell Bodhi to track down whatever antidote she and the rest of her squad need. On it, Garrett says. My squad? Zayden looks back at me. They're fine, but they were put under guard in the interrogation classroom after they tried to mount a rescue mission yesterday. Can you walk out of here? I don't know. I answered truthfully. I lost track of what's broken and what no one mended. I know my left is fractured, but I know my left arm is fractured, plus at least 3 of my ribs on my right side. My hip feels like it's not entirely there. It's supposed to be, or where it's supposed to be either. He'll die for his part. He pivots and walks out of the cell, past Nora's body and into the fucking bloodbath. There are at least half a dozen bodies between us and the stairwell. He makes quick work of sheathing all my daggers where they belong, but doesn't take the one I still have clutched in my hand. Dane passes him supplies from a nearby locker, and Xaden splints my arm as quickly as possible. I bite down on my torn lip to keep from crying out, and he wraps my ribs over my armor. Xaden, Garrett calls out from the stairwell. We have a problem. Fuck. Xaden mutters, glancing between the swords leaned against the wall and me. I can carry her, Dane offers. Xaden shoots him a look that promises a slow, painful death. I haven't decided whether or not to let you live yet. You can bet your ass I'm not trusting you with her. I can walk, I think. But the second I try, the room tilts, and for the first time in my life, I feel weak. That's what that monster did to me in this room. He took my strength. But he didn't break you, Violet. Hold on, sorry. What the fuck? Sorry. Where was I? But he didn't break you, Violet. Liam says softly from the corner of the room, and my chest squeezes tight as he takes a step backward. The shadows take step back toward the shadows, then another. How about this? I promise the next time I'm beaten for 5 days straight, I'll let you carry me out of the prison, Xaden says, sheathing his sword behind his back. Thank you, I say to both men. Xaden lifts me into his arms, tucking me tight against his chest without putting pressure on my ribs. Follow me or die. It's your choice, but make it now, he tells Dane as shadows surround us, forming a circle of blades as Xaden moves, carrying me up the mage-lit staircase. His head falls onto his shoulder, and I wince. My head falls onto his shoulder, and I wince. But what does the pain matter if we're leaving? If we're both alive? You came. What kind of problem, Garrett? Xaden asks as we round the corner of the staircase. A general-sized one, Garrick answers, his hands in the air. My mother's blade is at his throat. Oh shit. I lift my head and Xaden stops cold, his body tensing against mine. Her eyes met mine from where she stands on the step above Garrick. The lines of her face strained with, wait, is that Marley? Violet? Mom. I blink. It's the first time she said my name since before Parapet. Who did you kill? She directs the question at Xaden. Everyone. He responds unapologetically. She nods, then drops her blade. Garrick breathes in deeply, moving away from her. Sorry. Whoop. As they're moving away from her. And putting his back to the wall. Here. She reaches into the rib pocket of her uniform and draws out a vial of clear liquid. It's the antidote for the serum. I stare at the vial, and my heart speeds from a dull thud to a gallop. How do I know that's what's actually in there? I would have come sooner if I'd known, my mother says, her voice softening along with her eyes. I didn't know, Violet. I swear it. I've been in Caldir for the last week. So your return is just what? Coincidence? I ask. Her mouth purses and her fingers curl around the vial. I'd like a moment alone with my daughter. That's not happening, Zayden counters. Her eyes harden when she looks at him. You of all people know the lengths I'll go in order to protect her. And since I'm pretty sure you're the reason we're getting reports of dragons dropping wyvern carcasses at every outpost we have along our border, the reason this college is emptying itself of most of leadership in a rush to contain the problem, the least you can do is give me a chance to say goodbye to her. You what? My gaze swings to Zayden's, but he keeps his locked on my mother. Would have done it sooner, but it took a couple of days to hunt them down and kill them, Zayden replies to her. You've threatened our entire kingdom. Her eyes narrow. Good. You allowed her to be tortured for days. I don't give a shit whether it was by your absence or your negligence. It happened on your watch. 3 minutes, she orders. Now. 3 minutes. I agree. Zayden's gaze flies to mine. She's a fucking monster. His voice is soft, but it carries. She's my mother. He looks like he looks like he might fight me for a second, but then he slowly lowers me to the stand and braces me against the wall. 3 minutes, he whispers, and I'll be at the top of the staircase. That warning is given to my mother as he starts up the steps with Garrick leading the way. Atos, did you decide to follow? Apparently, Dane says, waiting a few steps beneath me. Then fucking follow, Zayden orders. Dane grumbles and he marches up the steps, leaving my mother alone with me. She's the picture of composure, her posture straight, her face expressionless, as she holds out the vial. Take it. You've known what's happening out there for all these years. I white knuckle my weapon. She steps forward, her gaze jumping from the dagger in one of my hands to the splint in the other. Then selects a pocket in my uniform top and slides the vial in. When you have children, we can discuss the risks you'll take, the lies you'll be willing to tell in order to keep them safe. What about their children? My voice rises. Again. She hooks her arms around my upper back, sliding her hand under my shoulder, and hauls me against her side. When you are a mother, talk to me about who you're willing to sacrifice so your child lives. Now walk. I grip my teeth and put one foot in front of the other, fighting the dizziness, the exhaustion, and the waves of pain to climb the stairs. It's not right to let them die defenseless. I never said it was. She takes the first turn, climbing slowly, and I knew you'd never see it our way. Never agree with our stance on self-preservation. Markham saw you as his protege, the next head of the scribes, the only applicant he thought smart enough, clever enough to continue weaving the complicated blindfolds chosen for us hundreds of years ago. She scoffs. He made the mistake of thinking you'd be easy to control, but I know my daughter. I'm sure you think that. Each step is a battle, jarring my bones and testing my joints. Everything feels abominably loose, yet so tight I might split open from the pressure. I might be a stranger to you, Violet, but you are far from a stranger to me. Eventually, you'd discover the truth. Maybe not while in the scribe quadrant, but certainly by the time you'd made captain or major, when Markham would start bringing you into the fold. Give me a second, let me take a quick drink here. as we do with most at those ranks, and then you would unravel everything in the name of mercy or whatever emotion you'd blame, and they would kill you for it. I'd already lost one child keeping our borders safe, and I wasn't willing to lose another. Why did you think I forced you into the Riders Quadrant? Because you think less of the scribes? I answer. Bullshit. The love of my life was a scribe. Steadily we climb, twisting along the staircase. I put you in the Riders Quadrant so you'd have a shot at surviving, and then I called in a favor Ryerson owed me for putting the marked ones into the quadrant. I stop at the door at the archives level. Comes into view. You did what? She didn't just say that. Say what I think she did. She tilts her head to look at me in the eye. It was a simple transaction. He wanted the marked ones to have a chance. I gave him the quadrant, as long as he took responsibility for them, in return for a favor to be named at a later date. You were that favor. If you survived Parapet on your own, all he had to do was see that no one killed you outside of challenges or your own naivety for your first year. Which he did. Quite a miracle, considering what Colonel Atos put you through during war games. You knew? I discovered it after the fact, but yes, don't give me that look. She chastises, pulling me up another step. It worked. You're alive, aren't you? Though, I'll admit, I didn't foresee the mated dragons or whatever emotional entanglement you've involved yourself in. That was disappointing. Excuse me. It all clicks into place. That night at the tree last year when he should have killed me for catching the meeting of the marked ones, the challenge where he had every opportunity to exact his revenge on my mother by ending me, and instructed me instead, nearly intervening at threshing. My ribs feel like they're crackling all over again. He's never had a choice when it came to me. His life, the lives of those he holds dearest, has always been tied to mine. And suddenly, I have to know. Are those your knife marks on his back? Yes. Her tone is bland. It's a tearish cut. Stop talking. I don't want to hear a single explanation for such an unforgivable act. But, of course, she doesn't listen. It seems that by putting you into the Writer's Quadrant, all I did was hasten your own end, she remarks as we climb the last 4 steps, coming out in the tunnel by the archives. Zayden reaches for me, and my mother's arms fall away. I trust you'll use the chaos to get her out, she asks him, but we both know that's an order. Planning on it, he tucks me against his side. Good. Don't tell me where. I don't want to know. Markham is still in Chaldeer with the king. Do with that information what you will. She looks at Dane, who waits off to the side with Garrick, his face ashen. Have you made your choices now that you know? I have. He squares his shoulders as a group of scribe cadets runs by, their hoods in disarray, panic written on their faces. She dismisses Dane with a single sound, then looks at Zayden. And so the war of the father becomes that of the son. It is you, right? Stealing the weaponry, arming the very enemy trying to rip us apart. Regret letting me into the quadrant yet? He keeps his voice deceptively calm, and there are shadows rising along the tunnel walls. No. Her gaze drops to me. Stay alive, or this all will have been for nothing. She skims the back of her fingers along my swollen face. I'd tell you to take arnica and see a healer, and but you already know that. Your father made sure you'd know everything. Everything you needed, or where to find it. You're all that's left of him, you know. But I'm not. Mira has his laugh, his warmth, and Brennan. She doesn't know about Brennan, and in this moment I have no regrets about keeping that secret. The smile she gives me is tight. And so full of sadness that I wonder if I'm hallucinating. It falls as quickly as it appeared, and she turns away from us, headed back to the stairwell that will carry her up to the main campus. Oh, and Violet, she calls back over her shoulder. Sorrengails walk, or fly, off the battlefield. But they're never carried. Unbelievable. I watch until she disappears up the stairwell. No wonder you're so warm and fuzzy, Violet, Garrick mutters. We're leaving, Zayden announces. Gather the marked ones and meet us at the flight field. No, I shake my head. Zayden looks at me like I've sprouted a few more limbs. We just talked about this. We can't stay here, and I won't leave you. Not just the marked ones, I clarify. If Markham is gone and most of the leadership is flying for the border, then that's our only chance. To leave? Zayden lifts his brows. Good, then we're in agreement. To give everyone a choice. I glance at the empty tunnel. They're going to lock this place down once the cadre returns. Once they know that they can't stop the spread of misinformation and our friends. My head shakes. We have to give them a choice, Zayden, or we're no better than leadership. Zayden narrows his eyes. Dragons will vouch for the ones who want to leave for the right reasons, I whisper. He grits his teeth but nods. Fine. It won't be safe here for you, not after what you just did. I look at Dane and lift my brows. It's one thing to protect me in private, or to face down my mother, whom he's known his entire life. It's another to be known as the writer who ripped this place apart. Not that it will be safe for him where we're going. Garrett glances between Dane and Zayden. You can't be serious. We're going to trust this guy? If he wants our trust, he'll earn it, Zayden says. A muscle in Dane's jaw flexes, but he nods. Guess my last official act as wing leader will be to call a formation. Let me take a quick little breather here. Sorry, my... So much reading. Let me take a quick little drink before I continue on. Okay. That's where the leadership is now, trying to hide the bodies of over a dozen of dead wyvern. Dane finishes, his voice carrying over the courtyard a half an hour later as we stand on the dais in front of formation. The other wing leaders to his right, wing leaders to his right. The sun has fallen beneath the peaks behind us, but there's more than enough light for me to see the shock, the disbelief on the faces of almost every rider. It's only the marked ones and my squad who didn't begin to argue amongst themselves, some quiet, some outright yelling. Was this what you had in mind? Zayden asks me, his gaze swinging over the crowd. Not exactly, I admit, leaning heavily on him, but managing to stay on my feet. My uniform is clean, my rucksack packed, and I'm wrapped and braced from ankle to broken arm. Ooh, excuse me. But more than one cadet is staring at my face. After a quick look in the mirror, I understand why. Nolan must have only mended the most severe of my injuries because my face is a college of new purple-black bruises and older greenish ones. And that pattern only continues beneath the cover of my uniform. Zayden damn near shook the entire time it took for me to change. If you don't believe me, ask your dragons, Dane shouts. If their dragons agree to tell them, Terran says, on his way back from the Vale. I'd finally trusted my mother enough to drink the antidote about 10 minutes ago, which Terran had claimed was the only logical move, and he bonded me for my intelligence after all. What has the Empyrean decided? We aren't the only ones making choices tonight. It will be up to the individual dragon. They will not interfere, nor will they punish those who choose to leave and take their clutches and hatchlings with them. It's better than the alternative, which was full-scale slaughter of the dragons choosing to fight. Are you really okay? I ask him again. The bond between us feels strange, like he's holding back more than usual. I lost Solus in a network of caves while I was hunting him, so I was unable to kill him and Varish myself for their actions. When I do find him, I will prolong his suffering before death. I understand the feeling. And Darna, being made ready for flight, we'll pick her up on our way out. He hesitates. Prepare yourself. She still sleeps. Knots of appreciation twist in my stomach. What is wrong? What aren't you telling me? The elders have never seen an adolescent remain in the dreamless sleep this long. My heart plummets. You're lying. Aura Banehaven shouts, snapping my attention back to the current situation as she charges towards Dane, blade in hand. Garrick steps into her path, drawing his sword. I have no problem adding to my body count for the day, Banehaven. Heaton draws their axe at the base of the steps. The purple flames dyed in their hair, matching the shade of my pinky finger, and faces the formation alongside Emery, who already has his sword ready with Cianon protecting his back. Zayden was busy for the 5 days I spent in that cell. He came back with every graduate who bears a rebellion relic and a good share of their classmates, but not all. We'd better hurry this along. I look up at Zayden. The professors are going to be here any minute. The distraction Bodhi engineered in the flight field bought us time to meet without teachers noticing, but not much, especially considering that Devera, Kaori, Carr, and Emetario are among those on campus still. By all means, Zayden replies, and a look of boredom on his face. Feel free to convince them. Share the memory of Reston, but nothing further, I tell Terran. It's the easiest way for them to all have the same information. I loathe that idea, he complains. Before that, sharing memories outside of a mating bond isn't exactly comfortable. Have a better one? Terran grumbles, and I can see the moment it happens. There's a ripple throughout formation of tilted heads and gasps. There we go. I shift my weight to the less injured knee, and Zayden's hand tightens around my waist, leaving his dormant arm free. Zayden sighs. I guess that's one way to accomplish the goal, though I wish you'd left some parts out. Parts like Liam's death. It's true. Someone in second wing yells, stepping out of formation and stumbling in shock. What the hell are you talking about? Another shouts, looking at the rest in confusion. If your dragons don't choose, Dane starts, but his voice is overpowered by the outbreak of mayhem within the ranks. How's it going there, wing leader? Sarcasm drips from Zayden's tone. You think you can do better? Dane turns to a slow glare his way. Can you stand on your own? Zayden asks me. I nod, grimacing through the sharp bites of protest. all throughout my body as I straighten. He steps forward, raises his arms, and shadows rush in from the wall at our back, engulfing the formation and us in complete darkness. There's a glimmer of a caress across my cheek, right where it's split to what feels like bone, and more than one cadet screams. "Enough!" Zayden bellows, his voice amplified, shaking the very dais under our feet. The courtyard falls silent. Shadows recede in a rush, leaving more than one cadet gawking at Zayden. "Fucking show off," Garrick mutters over his shoulder, still squared off with aura. A corner of Zayden's mouth rises. "You are all riders," he shouts. All chosen, all threshed, all responsible for what happens next. Act like it. What Atos has told you is the truth. Whether or not you choose to believe it is up to you. If your dragon has chosen not to share what some have seen, then your choice has been made for you. Wing beats fill the air, and a murmur rises among the formation. I lock eyes with Ree, where she stands at the head of our squad. She nods suddenly toward the rotunda. I glance that way and catch a trio of figures in cream, led by Jacinia, all carrying packs. Thank gods they came. Now I just need 3 dragons willing to carry them. Already taken care of, Terran promises. And only this once. This once is all we need to save their lives. Wars do not wait for your readiness, Zayden continues. And make no mistake about it, we are at war. A war in which we are outmatched, not only in strength of signet, but air superiority as a whole. Is this your idea of a pep talk? If they need to be roused, they shouldn't be coming with us. Fair point. Whether you decide in the next hour will determine the course, and perhaps the end of your life. If you come with us, I cannot promise you'll live, but if you stay, I guarantee you will die fighting for the wrong side. The Venin will not stop at the border. They will drain every ounce of magic in Paramiel, and then they'll come for the hatching grounds in the Vale. Where was I? Sorry, I looked away for one second. Oh, there we go. If we go with you, they'll hunt us down as traitors, a voice from Third Wing calls out. And we would be. Defining yourself as a traitor requires declaring your allegiance, Zayden counters. And as for hunting us down, his shoulders rise and fall with a deep breath. They won't be able to find us. My heart starts to pound with the growing roar of wing beats in the air. The door to the gauntlet, the flight field flies open, and a dozen professors rush out, anger and shock lining their faces. "What have you done?" Carr shouts, running for us, his wispy hair flying in all directions as he lifts his hands. "You'll end us all over who? People you've never met? I won't allow it." "Bodhi," Zayden orders as Carr reaches the third wing. Fire erupts from Carr's hands, streaming towards the dais, and my stomach drops. Time seems to slow as Bodhi steps forward and twists his hands like he's turning a dial. The fire dies, extinguishing like it was never there, and leaving Carr staring at his hands. "You taught us well, Professor," Bodhi says, holding his hands in place. "Maybe a little too well." "Damn. He can counter signets," Zayden tells me. I love Bodhi. He's amazing. Well, that's fucking terrifying. The rest of the professors look upward as dragons fill the skyline, their wings flaring on approach. Green, orange, red, brown, blue. I look up, spotting Terran's rapid descent. Black. Zayden grabs my wrist as the walls shake under the weight of the mass landing. Claws dig in, spreading the masonry as dozens of dragons, maybe more, perch on every available space. Some fill the mountainside behind us, and others claim the top of the turrets in the quadrant, hovering like living sculptures. We won't stop you, Devera says to Zayden, then shifts to where her own dragon perches beside the parapet. In fact, some of us have been wanting to join you. Really? Who do you think left the news about Zola all over Battle Brief? She nods. A smile lifts my mouth. She's exactly who I've always thought she is. We're leaving within the hour, Zayden calls out. Your choice is as simple as it is personal. You can defend Navarre, or you can fight for the continent. We're in the air less than an hour later, flying south in the biggest riot I've ever seen. 200 dragons and 101 riders, nearly half the quadrant strong. And more are coming, taking a slow route with hatchlings. Terran had lain in front of the dais and begrudgingly allowed Zayden to help me into the saddle, but we made it. He hooked onto Andarna, the smaller black dragon's body, frighteningly limp with sleep. And now we're flying. I sleep most of the trip too, draped across the front of my saddle, my body claiming the rest it solely needs to knit itself back together. It was too hectic to catch every face, but I'm proud that every single member of my squad is with us, even the first years who are still fighting to keep their seats. They hold them into the morning and all throughout the next day, the riot pushing itself to the limit. Marked ones take position at the edges of the flight formation, hiding us from Melgren's sight. Hiding us from Melgren's sight should he decide to battle us, and we fly the least populated route possible. But it's hard to disguise a veritable cloud of dragons, even at this altitude. It must not have been just leadership that were pulled to the border. We don't encounter a single patrol as we cross into Tyrandor, flying high over the cliffs of Draelor onto the plateau. We're almost there, Terran tells me as we pass over the crystal waters of the Betha River. I'm alright. Don't bother lying to me. I can feel it all. The exhaustion, the pain, the cracking of unset bones in your left arm, the chapped wounds on your face, the throbbing in your left knee, that only eases. Point made! I shift in the saddle, trying to alleviate some of it. You're the one who hasn't stopped for water in 12 hours. And I could fly another 12 if need be. You're an incredibly needy species compared to ours. By the time we approach Orisha, I'm all but dead in the saddle. Terran and Sigale fly ahead, breaking from formation as we fly over the town, headed for Ryerson House, while the rest of the riot flies for the valley high above. You cannot make the hike down in your condition, Terran decrees. I'm too fucking tired to fight him. My body jolts in protest when Terran flares his wings, the change in momentum sending me deeper into the seat as he lands gently in consideration of Andarna and in the middle of the courtyard in front of Ryerson House. Terran's head turns towards the door as it's thrown open, and mine follows slow from weakness and lack of sleep. Violet! Brennan shouts, running down the marble steps. I undo the buckle of my saddle and force myself to dismount, despite the agony of feeling my bones grating against one another. Cradling my splinted arm, I slide down Terran's foreleg right into Zayden's arm and nearly crumple on the spot. I've got you, he whispers against my hair, supporting me against his side as we turn to face Ryerson House and the rapidly approaching furious face of my brother. Terran launches behind me before I can turn to see Andarna. What the fuck did you get her into this time? Brennan shouts at Xaden. He got me out, I promise. Oh? Then why is she half dead every time you bring her to me? The look Brennan levels on Xaden makes me reconsider which of them might be more violent, or the more violent one. Brennan reaches for my face, but stops just short of touching me. Oh gods, Violet, what did they do to you? I'm alright, I say once more. I step forward and Brennan hugs me carefully. I could probably use some mending. His head tilts at the sound of the wind as the wind approaches a dull roar. And I follow his line of sight as the massive riot approaches the town, en route to the valley. What have the two of you done? Ask your sister, Xaden responds. Brennan looks down at me, his eyes wide with shock and a touch of fear. I mean, I tried to force a smile, but it only splits my lip yet again. You did say that you needed writers. Yeah. Woo! That is the end of chapter 36. And that is halfway through the book officially. And starting tomorrow, we will go into part 2 of this book and into chapter 37. Alrighty, guys. So that is the end of reading for today. Tomorrow we will go into tomorrow we will go into chapter 37 to 42. And I will promise it does get better from here. Alright. I'm putting the book to the side so I don't... Anywho. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I will see you all again tomorrow with some more Iron Flame. And I hope you guys look forward. We've got 3 more reading days left. And 16 more chapters officially to go. It's seriously weird that it's 16 more chapters to go, but it doesn't look it when you look at the book. Alright. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I'll see you all tomorrow.